power of the heart. Finding your inner wisdom.
The power of the heart.
Finding the power of the heart.
The power of the heart.
The
Power of the heart. Power of the heart.
让我们寻回心的力量。
The power of the heart.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Yuru Chao. You are tuning in to the Power of the Heart on Dai Radio. In Tzu Chi hospitals, a shortage of nurses sits heavy on the superintendent's mind, not to mention about a shortage of experienced nurses. Many major hospitals in Taiwan have to reduce available patient beds due to insufficient nursing staffs. Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital works hard to visit nursing schools all around Taiwan in order to recruit new nurses, to attract potential candidates by helping them to understand the significance of working in Tzu Chi hospitals, particularly the principles and work environment. The staffs of Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital seize every opportunity to share their personal experience and opportunities of a future with students during recruiting on campus. In the summer of 2014, 151 graduates reported to work at Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital as promised, which pleasantly surprised all the staffs. That was enough to relieve them from a severe nursing shortage, which pleasantly surprised all the staffs. That was enough to relieve them from a severe nurse shortage. Before these new nurses arrived, a group of supervisors from the hospital cleaned and decorated the nurses' dorm with care as if preparing for the arrival of their own daughters. Seeing these new nurses in their crisp white uniforms made the supervisors very joyful, because they felt as if looking at the bodhisattvas of compassion in white robes who Master Cheng Yen has always talked about. To help these outstanding new nurses to be familiar with the hospital's history and unique patient-based features of Tzu Chi medical mission, the hospital arranged a 2-day immersion camp for new recruits. Visiting care recipients was included for them to experience Tzu Chi spirits. These new nurses roll up their sleeves to wash dirty toilets, paint walls, clean kitchens, carry trashes out, and give people with disabilities a bath. Although everyone was fatigued with sweat soaking their clothes, they beamed with the joy of giving. After a demanding exercise to help the care recipient, everyone was filled with vibrant energy. When asked if they were tired, everyone answered in unison, no. They were even eager for the next opportunity to serve and to give of themselves so they can live up to their values in life. In this great Tzu Chi family, great potential and compassion of these new recruits are inspired. We hope they will find the strength to persevere in both their profession and volunteer function. Be the bodhisattvas on the front line, relieving suffering of patients and give joy to the world. In our program today, we'll begin with a reading of Master Cheng Yen's teaching on life economics about begin with our mind. This reading is provided by Mr. Colin Legerton.
You are listening to The Power of the Heart on Dai Radio. Tapping into the power of the heart. Finding your inner wisdom. Finding the power of the heart.
Chapter 6. Initiate the Cycle of Love. If we always receive love from others, then it will be hard for us to realize the joy of giving. Because we are accustomed to receive, we will think, I deserve it, and not be appreciative. If we are without gratitude, we hold no respect toward others and cannot have intimate relationships with other people. So how can we give love sincerely? There is a story about two groups of people sitting at two round tables loaded with delicious food. Each person has a pair of long chopsticks. At one table, people scramble for food, but the chopsticks are too long to deliver food to their mouths. Whenever they see other people reach for food with chopsticks, they get anxious, upset, and suspicious. Their minds, disturbed by greed, are not at peace. Anger leads to confrontation, so they start to throw bowls at each other until the table is overturned and all the delicious food is destroyed. At the other table, even though the people hold the same long chopsticks, they are able to help and love one another. Each person delivers food to the person sitting across the table. In this way, they can all enjoy the cuisine. The people in this group are thankful toward one another. They live happily as if in heaven. Although the living conditions are the same, their different attitude makes the outcome totally different. Section 1. Begin with the mind. Sometimes people sigh and complain that everything is so difficult. Where is the difficulty? It is in the mind. Our minds differentiate between likes and dislikes. We are drawn to the things we love and are prejudiced against the things we dislike. As a result, our minds are tormented. When we cannot move past the situations we encounter, we feel that everything is difficult. Actually, many things are quite simple, and it is not time or space that pose obstacles. As long as we are determined, we can turn a narrow, bumpy road into a smooth thoroughfare. The Buddha teaches us that we must begin our spiritual cultivation by taking care of our minds. If we cannot discipline our minds, we cannot cultivate ourselves. Once we take good care of our minds, no road is impassable. Train the mind to be simple. Sometimes things in the world puzzle us. What appears simple can actually be very complicated. Let us look at people. The Chinese word for person is ren. As a character, it is very simple, only 2 easy strokes. But it can be very difficult to understand. There are 3 types of people: lovable people, pitiable people, and detestable people. The world is full of these 3 types of people, and love, pity, and hatred are all afflictions of complication. These 2 simple strokes refer to 3 different types of people, each of which is very complex. Isn't this a perfect example of simplicity becoming complicated? The affliction of complication is the same as ignorance. When external conditions do not gratify us, our temper and habitual tendencies flare up. Although we clearly know that we must control ourselves, we are unable to tame our hearts. Once, at a medical exhibit in Jingse Hall, a director of psychiatry showed me a specimen of a brain biopsy. We still do not know how thoughts and consciousness are formed, but we can use brain biopsies to analyze the brain. For example, this area controls emotions, he explained, pointing to different grain patterns on the biopsy specimen. Looking at it, I thought, isn't this the source of affliction? Our lives are complicated because we are unable to control our emotions, and because we each have habitual tendencies. Actually, these nerves, like muscles, can be trained. The Buddha said that each person has the same wisdom and pure nature as the Buddha himself. Through spiritual cultivation, we can bring out our innate kind nature, control our emotions, and rectify our habitual tendencies. All sentient beings often make simple matters complicated, but we should conduct ourselves with a simple mindset and refrain from cunning and trickery. For example, when someone asks whether you have eaten, you can answer, "No, I haven't," or "Yes, I have," in a straightforward manner, and then thank them for their concern. When you respond simply, both parties feel warm and friendly. But some people may think, "Why did he ask me whether I've eaten? Does he think that I have difficulty feeding myself?" When we twist another's words and make them complicated, we misunderstand their intentions. A simple matter becomes complicated when viewed with a complicated mindset. On the other hand, everything becomes simple when we treat it with a simple mindset. Granny Adwan has been a simple person all her life, as she was born intellectually challenged. She begged for food with her parents until she was almost 20 years old. Then her parents and step-parents passed away one after another. She was left homeless and alone. Her fellow villagers found her a deserted house and cleaned it up so she could live there. Although Adwan could not even speak clearly, the villagers had known her for a long time and knew that she was kind and diligent. They often asked her to babysit when they were busy, and they found that she was very careful and mindful when taking care of their children. Ever since she was young, Adwan has helped people with a simple mindset. Almost every villager has sought out her help, and many children have been under her care at one time or another. Although she is now old and alone, she is like a family member to the whole village. When she gets sick, she is treated by the village doctor free of charge. Some villagers even leave cash at the grocery store regularly so that Adwan may take home the items she needs. She is not greedy. She only takes what she truly needs. She is indeed a person with a great heart and a simple mindset, and is content with few desires. Later in her life, Granny Adwan became a Tsuji recycling volunteer. People sometimes ask her, "You collect recyclables. Do you know what the money is used for after they are sold?" She always answers cheerfully, "Sell, Tsuji, good." Although she can only say a few simple words, she clearly shows a pure innocence free from desires and complicated thoughts. In Chinese, we often use the phrase open heart, 开心, to describe the state of being joyful and worry-free. In other words, we must open our hearts to be happy. Sometimes we ask a person, "Why are you so gloomy?" He or she may answer, "I do not know. My heart seems to be tied up." When we close up our hearts, it is as if we are bound and entangled, so we naturally feel that things are complicated and difficult to resolve. I often say, simplicity is beauty, and purity is kindness. When we write, if we want to depict auspiciousness and perfection in one stroke, we draw a circle. It is that simple. Likewise, if we treat everything in the world with a simple mindset and loving care, everything will be perfect and beautiful. We should not become like the fluctuating, entangled line drawn on a seismograph by an earthquake. That would be most unsettling. A simple line of perfection and an irregular, entangled line are totally different. So we must always be vigilant to maintain a simple and moderate mindset. We should not be influenced by irregular shockwaves. When we take good care of our minds, we will always be happy in whatever we do. With a simple mindset every day, we can draw a perfect circle with one stroke. Otherwise, we will face endless ignorance and affliction. The most beautiful word. Tsuji volunteers often say, 感恩, which means, I am grateful. When uttered from the bottom of one's heart, 感恩 is not only the most beautiful spoken word in the world, but also the most sincere interaction between people. In order to tame our tempers and reduce conflict, gratitude is also needed. We should start with ourselves. Every day when we wake up, the very first thing we should do is to be grateful. We should wear a smile often and express our gratitude to every family member. When we leave home, we should be grateful to our neighbors and even to strangers that pass by. One day, while I was traveling to Taipei, I looked out the bus window and saw a man lying on his stomach by the roadside. As I looked closer, I realized he was a worker pulling cables through a culvert. He was working hard in the scorching heat, wearing waterproof plastic overalls. I turned around to tell everyone in the bus, we should be grateful to laborers. Because of their hard work, we have smooth roads to travel on, utilities for our daily use, and sturdy houses to shelter us. All those things are accomplished by the hard work of laborers. We should say Gan-en to people from all works of life for a stable society. Gan-en and thank you differ greatly in depth. Gan means to feel, and en means a great favor that one person bestows upon another. En is the combination of two characters, cause, in, over heart, shin. The cause is like a karmic seed planted deep inside the heart, which then grows and flourishes to bear fruit. As such, Gan-en articulates a profound gratitude from deep inside one's heart. For example, when we tell someone a wise saying, he accepts it and says, Gan-en. If this saying moves him so that he keeps it inside his heart and applies it to his daily life, then it becomes Dharma. If he is truly grateful, he will plant this Dharma deep inside his heart. Only then will he be able to apply it daily. Therefore, being grateful is most essential. We all came into this world alone, and we will leave this world with nothing but our karma. From birth to death, we all hope everything will turn out to our satisfaction. But in reality, the more desires we have and the greedier we are, the more difficult it is to have everything we want. If we are content and have fewer desires, then we feel that everything is as we desire. Contentment enables us to be grateful and appreciative. I once saw an elderly Tzu-chi recycling volunteer carefully sorting cans and bottles. Some bottles still had leftover sauce inside. She dug it out carefully, rinsed the bottles clean, and then put them into the recycling bin. She truly cherished her blessings and valued every item. Was she tired from all this? Of course she was. But she told me, I am grateful that I have this field of blessing that allows me to make good use of my life. I would be lying if I told you I was not tired. However, my back hurts anyway, even if I do nothing, so I might as well do recycling work and sleep better because of the fatigue. This woman is able to make good use of her life because she has shifted her mindset. In addition to gratitude, people should respect one another, then their genuine love will arise. Gratitude, respect, and love are as simple as that. I often say, cherishing our life is a way to repay our parents. Giving of ourselves is a way to show gratitude. We should start with ourselves to love ourselves and love others. It is our duty to cherish our own lives. It is a blessing when we respect and love others. We should always show love in our interactions with people. Optimism, understanding, and love, 3 essentials for a healthy mind. It is our nature to love beauty, and we are all attracted to beautiful things. There are 3 kinds of beauty. The first is the beauty of our environment. When we cherish our natural environment, take care of it, and maintain its cleanliness, then the environment will be pleasant and comfortable. The second is physical beauty. When we keep our bodies healthy and our appearances neat and clean, our lives will be beautiful. The third is the beauty of the mind. When our minds are diseased, then even with a healthy body, we will suffer unspeakably. How do we maintain a healthy mind? First, we must be optimistic. Second, we must be understanding. Third, we must have a loving heart. When we are optimistic and content with our lives, then our hearts are wide open. With open hearts, how can we not be understanding? Understanding people always keep their hearts open, so that they can always extend their love. There are people who keep their hearts tightly closed and only care about themselves. This is attachment to self. This egocentricity impedes the growth of knowledge and wisdom. We should open our hearts to allow wisdom to shine within. Then we can illuminate the external environment with our inner light to bring hope and happiness to others. There were once 2 sisters-in-law. The older one was always criticized by her mother-in-law after she married into the family. The younger one had a strong sense of justice and always felt that her mother was unreasonable for being sarcastic toward her sister-in-law. Each time the older sister-in-law accepted her mother-in-law's sarcasm with a smile, the younger one would say, "Why are you so stupid? Do you not understand what she means?" The older sister-in-law would reply, "She is educating me. She pointed out my wrongdoings so that I may make corrections accordingly." The more obedient the older sister-in-law was, the more protective the younger one became. She felt her sister-in-law really needed her protection, otherwise insult and abuse would follow. One day, the younger sister-in-law brought the older one to see me. She said, "Master, please advise my sister-in-law, as she is very foolish." "What makes her foolish?" I asked. "She does not understand my mother's sarcasm. She simply accepts the humiliation." "Are you not upset at all when your mother-in-law scolds you?" I asked the older sister-in-law. She replied, "My mother-in-law has more experience and has seen more. When I do something wrong and my mother-in-law points it out, I should correct it. The more corrections I make, the better I will become. Far from being angry, I am grateful to her." I told the younger sister-in-law, "Your sister-in-law is a joyful person. She is not angry at all when being scolded. Instead, she is grateful for it. She is wise and very understanding. What is wrong with her being content? On the other hand, you listen to your mother's words with a different mindset. You have only grasped the bony part of her speech. You do not see the beautiful meat of her words." Embarrassed, the younger sister-in-law said, "I see that it was I who was mistaken." When people interact with each other, everything is relative. If one person has a worse temper or worse habits, the other one should take a step back. It is like a dance. When one person steps forward, the other one should step back. Between advances and retreats, each person should show respect toward the other. It is important to note that when one is narrow-minded, one sees and hears things in a biased fashion. Therefore, we should learn to see things correctly in their full beauty. A Tzu Chi commissioner often visited and cared for one of our members who suffered from depression. This member told the commissioner, "I don't know what I'm worrying about. Maybe I'm worried about the instability of my husband's business, or about my children's academic performance." The commissioner said to her, "Do not worry. The Master has said, when you open your heart, your destiny will change and blessings will come." After hearing this, the woman thought to herself, "Every day my heart seems to be bound up so tight that I often suffer from insomnia. Afraid that something bad might happen, my husband stays up at night to keep me company. I should find a way to open my heart." She recalled that the commissioner often invited her to volunteer at the nearby recycling center. She began to try doing recycling work. Although it made her physically tired, she was happy and forgot to worry. She slept well every night. Since her husband no longer worried about her condition, he could focus on his business. Her children were already well behaved and did not need her to fuss over them. After a period of time, the commissioner visited her again. Upon seeing the woman, the commissioner said, "You look different. You seem to be quite at ease." She said, "I am grateful to you. Now I do not need to take any medication. My husband can concentrate on his work, so his business is doing much better." The commissioner asked, "How did you let go of all your worries?" She replied, "You told me, when you open your heart, your destiny will change and blessings will come. Realizing that worrying would not solve any problems, I decided to find a way to open up my heart. I started to do recycling work. It was enjoyable to work and interact with others. I worked diligently and forgot all my troubles." Her story is a good example. We are ordinary people, easily troubled by our families and external disputes. We cannot completely let go of our worries, but sharing good words we have heard with others is a virtue. The fortunate people who hear and take those words to heart will be able to apply them in their lives. Those who apply them happily will eliminate their delusions and eventually reach mental liberation.
You are listening to The Power of the Heart.
My name is Bill Wei. I'd like to share with one of my favorite Jing Si aphorism. It is easy to reflect on major mistakes and hard to eliminate small bad habits. On the spiritual path, repentance is essential practice. Most of us tend to repent only when we have done something that caused major negative consequences. It is then that we reflect on our action and resolve not to do the same again. But we often don't pay attention to our habitual tendency. The more subtle one often escapes our notice. In fact, we may even think of all this are just the way we are. Our habitual tendency are acquired over lifetimes. We experience affliction, resentment, and joy. As a result, we gradually accumulate like, dislike, and various preference. This forms our habitual tendency. Spiritual cultivation is about eliminating unwholesome tendency. May wisdom and inspiration be with you always.
Angels in blue, crossing horizons. My timeless wish is to fly with you. Always, always, every location. I long to live life like you do. Shines moonlight, lighting my path home. Great blue seas and mountains between you and me. My heart lights with your glow, beaming the spirit of home. Marching journeys past plain hills and trees, I'll find my true mission in life. Lonely, lonely and worn, I know I may be, I still cherish this calling. Blue seas and mountains between you and me, but your heart shines like blue.